The next section we have in Chapter 4 is Section 4-2, Angles of Triangles. And like I said before, this whole chapter will be about triangles. Okay, so our first theorem here is that the sum of the measures of the angles of a triangle is 180. They will always add to 180. Here's an example. We're going to say that this is 100. If that's 100, then I can say that this is 60. I'm making these up. And this would be 20. And if I add up 100 plus 60 plus 20, I get 180. So we got to do a little subtraction, maybe a little algebra here to find some of our missing angles. So here's an example. Find the measure of each numbered angle. Okay? We're going to start out with angle 2. There's a couple different ways to do this. I know that in this triangle right here, outlined in red, all the angles will add up to 180. So what I could do is I could do 57 plus 71 equals 128. And then to find the missing angle, all I do is 180 minus 128 equals 52. So this would be 52. Another way to do it in your calculator is just go 180 minus 57 minus 71, and you'll get the same answer. Okay, so that's how we find angle 2. All right, the tricky part here is finding angle 1. So I'm going to erase that. I still want to know that's 52. If I look at this pattern here, I can see a linear pair. And in a linear pair, both angles add up to 180. So I do 180 minus 57, and I will get 123 degrees. So angle 1 is 123. And now to find angle 3, all I need to do is do 180 minus 123 plus 128, which is 151, and that will give me 29 degrees. I could also do 180 minus 123 minus 28 in my calculator, and I will get the same answer. So that's how we find missing angles. We just use 180, we subtract. All right, we have another theorem. It's called the exterior angle theorem. And that in this picture it says angle A plus angle B will equal angle 1, which is the angle outside the triangle, and it's equal to the two opposite angles. So for example, I'm going to zoom in. If this was 120 and this was 30, all we would have to do is add A plus B, and angle 1 would be 150. We could also use new numbers here. Let's say this angle out here was 130. This angle here was 100, and this was x. How do we find that? Well, I know x plus 100 equals 130, so I'm just going to subtract 100 and this would be 30. Those two have to add up to that one. So let's do a couple examples. Okay, so we know that in this picture, angle C will equal angle A plus angle B. And I'm just going to fill in for those letters. We'll do a different color. Angle C is 145, angle A is 95, and angle B is 2x. I'm going to subtract 95 from both sides. 145 minus 95 is 50, equals 2x. Divide both sides by 2. X equals 25. And then I need to plug that back in there. So 2 times 25 equals 50. So my answers would be 25 and 50. We're going to do the same thing here. Angle G equals angle E plus angle F. So I always like to start with the outside angle and then figure out the inside angles. So angle G is 58, angle E is X, and angle F is X. I'm going to put a 1 in front of those to help me solve. 1 plus 1 is 2. Divide both sides by 2. And I get X equals 29. It says find the measure of F. Well, that's 29. They're both 29. 29 plus 29 is 58. Okay. Two more things here is that in a right triangle, the two acute angles are complementary. So we're going to zoom in here. This is always 90 in a right triangle, obviously. If that's 90, and I say this is 60, we know that this 60 plus A must equal 90. The opposite two angles must equal 90. And then that angle would be 30. So these two angles in a right triangle will always add up to 90. The last one says, in a triangle, you can only have one right angle or one obtuse angle. Okay? If this angle is 100, the highest possible values I could say this was 60 and this was 20. But they all have to be acute. Same with a right triangle. So on our last slide here, we're going to find the measure of each angle. So let's look at angle 1. It's in a right triangle, which I'm going to highlight or put a box around. Of course, now I got to make my pen thicker. That triangle right there. So to find angle 1, I do 90 minus 52, and I'm going to get 38. So angle 1 is 38. Now I'm going to find angle 2. I'm going to erase what I just did. And now put a box around this one. And I see it's a right triangle. So I do 90 minus my other angle, which is 38, will equal 52. Okay, now, here's we gotta use our brains a little bit. This is going to be 52, and that whole angle is 90. So once again, it's 90 minus 52 equals 38. So angle 3 is 38. And so that means angle 4 has to be 52. Why? Because if I did 90 minus 38 again, that would be 52.